Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an upload that is absolutely, truly mind-blowing for me, and I hope for you. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button. Takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload, shall we? All right, really quick, two things that tie into one that actually tie into today's upload. One, I had dental surgery last Thursday, so I'm going to be talking a little funny. I had to have all of my teeth replaced with implants. And on that day, an amazing channel, a channel that I watch every time he puts an upload out because I appreciate the value of the information that he puts into his uploads. His research is top notch, and that is Mysterious Middle East. I guess he had given me a shout out the same day I was having my surgery. So when I woke up after coming home, I had a bunch of emails and a bunch of texts, and he and I have communicated via email here and there. And I just want to thank him because I really do appreciate his channel. His research is second to none, and the topics that he chooses to research and look into not only are important, but the way he provides that information is educational and entertaining all in one. And he does a top-notch job at doing it. So thank you so much. And he, like I said, he and I have emailed a few times here and there, but he is definitely someone that I would love to work with someday. Just because his research is so good. And I think that he and I bouncing some ideas off of each other on one topic that we put, if we put our minds together on one topic, we may be able to come up with some answers to some major puzzles. He really is a top-notch researcher. So thank you for that shout out. And today's upload is going to be something that I really have been looking into with the Tom Mezek case, 411s, Dogmen, Bigfoot, and other things. Skinwalker Ranch, deep underground military bases. I think that a lot of what is happening and why we don't see or there is no trace evidence is portals. And that is something that we really need to look into more and more, because these creatures are quite capable of using these. Native Americans have talked about these creatures using these portals. Elementals and others have, as a way of transportation deep underground military bases, the Draconians, the Gray, and many other kind of alien-like creatures use these portals. Not only do they, but our government does as well. And I want to take a look at a lot of that today. So let's jump into it. All right, so many of us know what the Montauk Project is and know what the Montauk Chair is. I've talked about it here. And we have probably all heard about stargates and portals being used by ancient Egyptians and other cultures in the Middle East, Central and South America, and such. Now, the Montauk Project, there are people out there still to this day that believe that it is a conspiracy or it is fiction, which is the furthest thing from the truth. Within the last 10 years, NASA has actually been talking and researching portals. And I want to kind of jump into a little bit of that right now. In 2015, NASA admitted that the idea of Earth's portals, areas on the planet that can instantly teleport human beings from one place to another, are a reality, and they have been studying it for quite some time. One of NASA's spacecrafts, the Themis, a cluster probes from Europe, has amassed enough observational data to confirm that the magnetic Stargate portal exists in many locations. Usually these are found where a faraway geomagnetic field bumps up against a passing solar wind. The result is a direct pathway between the Earth and the Sun. In March of 2015, NASA launched its Magnetic Spheric Multiscale Mission, MMS, that, among other things, is tasked with studying these portals to gain a deeper understanding of them, opening and closing numerous times during the day. Magnetic forces mingle, allowing their crackling energy particles to flow between the Earth and the Sun. These meeting points are called X points by NASA and have been pinpointed by scientists using polar data. The Bermuda Triangle is probably one of the most famous Stargate portals, encompassing 3 verticals. The Bermuda Triangle, sometimes referred to as Devil's Triangle, is a large abyss that stretches between San Juan, Puerto Rico, Bermuda Island, and Miami, Florida. First noted in the late 50s or early 1951, the Bermuda Triangle was deemed to be a mysterious area in which huge military ships and planes were lost without any plausible explanation forthcoming, the government or the military. In 1964, Vincent H. Gaddis argued that the Bermuda Triangle was a site of strange occurrences such as disappearing tanker ships and jets, with the government being unwilling or unable to provide a reason or an explanation. The Philadelphia experiment. The Philadelphia experiment, also sometimes called Project Rainbow, grew out of the desire to cloak the U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Eldridge, so that enemy devices were not able to detect it. Built on concepts relative to Stargate portals, the project relied on a technological application developed by a well-known and respected scientific great like Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein. Testing started in 1943 and was successful to a large degree. In fact, some witnesses noted that they saw a green fog in the area where the massive ship once stood. Further experiments in late October resulted in the USS Eldridge vanishing from its shakedown cruise in the Bahamas. Simultaneously, sailors stationed 375 miles south of Norfolk Naval Base in Norfolk, Virginia, reported the ship's appearance for several minutes before it vanished. Alfred Bellick, a former crew member on the USS Eldridge, and Duncan Cameron. Duncan Cameron was one of the people involved in the Montauk project and the Montauk chair. Would later work on the Montauk project, jumped from the deck of the USS Eldridge when it was trapped in hyperspace and landed in the future. Once they arrived at Camp Hero in 1983, they were tasked with returning to the USS Eldridge in order to destroy the equipment holding the ship in hyperspace. The pair did so successfully before leaping off the deck and materializing in that current year. Now, Duncan Cameron in the Montauk chair, which was an experiment done on a group of young men called the Montauk Boys. And they'd actually sit in this chair, and with the power of mental abilities or whatever, there's not a whole lot of explanation on what really occurred. I believe a lot of it was with experimental devices on top of whatever psychic abilities these people possessed. But there was a portal opened in this room, and a huge monster came out of this friggin' portal and was seen by a group of men before it disappeared suddenly. So that then leads us from the Philadelphia experiment to the Montauk project. Located in Montauk, Long Island, New York, Montauk Air Force Station, also known as Camp Hero, was the site of the Montauk project, an extension of the famed Philadelphia experiment. This United States government-backed research project sought to further substantiate data on magnetic fields and their psychological effects. Once secretly funded, was received by the Department of Defense. Various experiments were conducted, including the creation of a dimensional portal that enabled researchers to travel to far-flung locales. As a result of their success, researchers also developed a time tunnel in which contact was made with aliens, as well as underground tunnels and brain reprogramming methods. So when Victor was on our show, and every once in a while I'm going to have to hit pause. I apologize. My throat gets really dry. I don't know why. It's, once again, part of the surgery. So I do apologize. It will get better, I promise. But Victor, when Victor first came on this channel, and I talked about this on the live stream the other day, there was not a lot of people talking about Dogmen in Vietnam, Dogmen being used as a weapon, this, and that. Actually, at one point, when Victor was saying all that, my channel was getting annihilated. And then he shared about the brain reprogramming, which we now know is a true fact. So everything that man said 4 years ago, 2020 to 2022, was so spot on. And I feel blessed that he shared it here. So, brain reprogramming methods. Another notable incident, a flying saucer became stuck in the Montauk underground tunnels with its alien crew demanding a crystal needed to repair its engines so they could leave. Flying saucers were observing the Philadelphia experiment in 1943 and also got sucked into the time warp and was transported to one of the underground tunnels in Montauk and got stuck there. The aliens demanded a large quartz crystal to help get their ship's engine started and able to leave. The time machine was used to obtain one from another planet. Now, this is I kind of want to share this with you really quick because I find it so interesting. So this is one of the big reasons why I believe 100% these creatures use and have used portals long before we've had the ability to. And like I said, staying along with the Montauk Project chair, experiments with thought projection in early 79 revealed an interesting side effect. Many times Duncan's thoughts would be projected by a transmitter, but the signal would suddenly vanish. At first, this was thought to be a malfunction until it was noticed that many of the things Duncan was attempting to project didn't appear or occur till many hours later, or perhaps before. Apparently, Duncan was capable of altering the flow of time or operating outside of it. Further research showed that the setup being used for the experiments and tests did not have sufficient power to properly bend and shift time. To achieve full mastery over the flow of time, researchers installed what is referred to as the Orion Delta T for time antenna. It was rumored that the antenna was based on designs given to the project by aliens from the constellation Orion. The exact star system is unknown. As with the Sirians, it is unknown exactly why the Orions gave the Montauk Project the plans, but it is presumed there had been a private agenda. I'm guessing the same reason why the U.S. government initially started creating Dolce and other deep underground military bases with these aliens was because we said, hey, you give us some power. You know, World War II was going on. The axis of evil, you know, we weren't who we are now. America was not who we are right now. And we made a pact with the devil, essentially, with these aliens. We said, hey, give us technology beyond what our enemy has and take some of our people and experiment on them. And they did. So that's exactly why we have all this technology. There's no, I wonder why they gave it to us. Well, it's because, you know, there's 10,000 missing people in Alaska, you know, in the Alaskan Triangle, and, you know, missing women, children, and kids all over the world. And occasionally some come back. So the end of the Montauk Project. The Montauk Project finally came to an end in August 12th of 1983. On this date, a time portal was opened that connected Montauk Base with the USS Eldridge of 40 years ago during the original Philadelphia experiment. While this portal was being opened and maintained, several members of the project who had become increasingly uncomfortable with the aims and designs of the project heads and with the effect that warping time and space may have on the world around them, decided to bring the project to a crashing halt. A code phrase was whispered to Duncan, at which point he released a monster from his subconscious. This creature, or the beast from the id, materialized as a large, hairy monster that smashed its way about the base, destroying and eating everything it could. Meanwhile, one of the project members began cutting apart cables and conduits in an attempt to sever the power to the base's transmitters and shut down the project. After smashing up and cutting apart enough equipment, the transmitter powered down and the beast mercifully faded away. So, and then after the disaster on the 12th of August, 1983, the Montauk Project was shut down. Camp Hero in 1984 was, well, actually, you want to tell me that this doesn't tell you that something was going on? The base was emptied of people and equipment, and all personnel were brainwashed into forgetting anything that had happened there. Almost a year later, June of 84, a unit of Black Beret, possibly an elite unit of Marines, entered the base with orders to shoot anything and everything that moved. They purged the base for a second team, which removed any equipment deemed sensitive to abandon. Finally, at the end of '84, cement was poured into many of the elevator shafts and underground areas of the base, sealing off all of the areas used for the most extreme of space-time experiments. Afterward, the gates of Montauk Air Force Base were locked. A base was abandoned for a second and final time. Eventually, Fort Hero and Montauk Base was donated to the state of New York as a park. So, what was that code word? Like that gets me kind of curious. I wonder what that code word was whispered into Duncan's ear. And I think it's kind of interesting. The beast from the id. Yeah, like in Them and Us by Danny Van Drimeny, he explains to us how all in our subconsciousness, we have fears of hairy humanoid creatures or pale, skinny, white-like creatures like crawlers. It's because subconsciously we know we have been battling these creatures since time immemorial. Dogmen exists, Bigfoot exists, and has. And, many other cultures throughout time and the world talk about these things. So they're worldwide and for thousands of years, yet they don't exist. And our military used one of these creatures, or not our military, but essentially someone in our military used a command word to get Duncan to shut down this project. And that's why I find it so interesting, like I said. So, from Montauk, the military and space portal research, and it should be no surprise to learn that the military is both a conduit and supporter of space portal research with billions of dollars in research funding funneled to various projects of the Department of Defense. A significant amount was earmarked to allow the military to establish Stargate portal. During the Iraqi War, under the guise of searching for weapons of mass destruction, then President George W. Bush invaded the country in an effort to control a dimensional portal and stop extraterrestrials from annihilating humankind or culling the world's population. Which many of us have all heard that, and there are people who deny it. But, I mean, it is, with that many people saying, hey, this is true, how do you deny such a thing? There were no weapons of mass destruction. There was chemical agents found, but weapons of mass destruction are nukes, So, that brings us to the Uinta Basin, or Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. Is one of the state's most famous areas for paranormal activity. With a history dating back more than 50 years, Skinwalker Ranch has been the site for paranormal activity, poltergeist, UFOs, glowing orbs, extraterrestrial occurrences, cryptids. Family who owned the ranch from 94 until 96 reported that cattle on the ranch were being mutilated and simply vanished into thin air. Piercing red eyes glared at them from oversized creatures that did not appear to be injured when shot. Purchased by Robert Bigelow, believed so strongly that the activities were important to the survival of the planet, he formed NIDS, or the National Institute for Discovery Science, and staffed it with top scientists of the field. In 96, the organization acquired the ranch in order to study its paranormal activity in depth. Numerous unexplainable events were chronicled including stargates that emitted magnetic fields that were highly destructive. With Skinwalker Ranch, there has been numerous Dogman sightings, and I believe 100% that all of this is connected, and many of you do too. And it's kind of, for people to say it's not, is almost a joke, you know. You have poltergeists, UFOs, cryptids, portals. I believe there is a deep underground military base under Skinwalker Ranch or close to it. Because, in one, I don't think it's Skinwalkers. What I believe are haunting that area is Dogman, not a Skinwalker. And a lot of people, because of creepypastas, get a misconception of what a Skinwalker is. One, it is a Navajo shapeshifter, a black witch. It's technically not a cryptid. I mean, when it's in transformation, would it be? Maybe. I don't know. I've gotten into an argument with somebody about that once, to where I used to think it was. But now I don't. I really don't. How can a human being who practices black magic and can transform or shapeshift be a cryptid? In its shapeshifted form, maybe. But what I truly believe is in that area is Dogmen, or a alien race of dog-headed aliens that the Sumerian texts talk about. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this. In the beginning of summer of 2009, BAASS team comprised of 6 investigators, 3 scientists, and 2 technicians, alternating 1 to 2 week missions to interview area residents as well as to deploy sensor instrumentation at Skinwalker Ranch. Sorry about that. By March 2010, approximately 30 residents who had reported firsthand encounters were interviewed in their homes. The first group comprised lifelong residents of the area, all living within 1 to 2 miles in that radius of the Skinwalker Ranch. They included 4 local police officers, 11 Ute tribemen, including a shaman, 12 ranchers, 6 business owners, and the director of the local Fish and Wildlife Office. Half were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. 11 of these individuals recounted firsthand encounters with a dog or wolf-like creature that could run at speed on 2 legs, sometimes in conjunction with orb-like activity. Its estimated height is 6 to 7 feet. Many of these reported observations took place during daytime hours. Some sightings very recent, only a month or 2 old, while others had taken place years ago. All observations had occurred within a 5-mile radius of the Skinwalker Ranch. So, they interviewed people that lived within 1 to 2 miles of the ranch. But all of the sightings were somewhere between 5 miles of that ranch. That's why I believe there is a deep underground military base under the ranch, if not under, somewhere near it. Maybe that whole basin, the Uinta Basin, is a deep underground military base. We know they are huge. They are gigantic cities. And that would make sense that these caves would be an opening for these dogmen to come out and wreak havoc. Another quick thing that I've been thinking about also is the Lovelock Caves, the Nephilim of the Lovelock Cave in Nevada. What if there is a deep underground military base there, or a tunnel that connects these caves, and these Nephilim came out of these caves, And that's why we are not finding remnants of these creatures. There have been bones found, obviously, we all know that, and the Smithsonian has hidden them and destroyed many of them. But if they have the capability of using these portals, they can easily be hidden or hide amongst themselves in an alternate kind of dimension. So with the Lovelock caves, and I'm not saying 100% that, there is a deep underground military base. There may be tunnels, like I said. But with Skinwalker Ranch in Utah, Nevada, Lovelock, and then Dolce, New Mexico, if you look at the map, it all kind of makes sense. And one of the most interesting things about Dolce that I think is overlooked a lot is the cryptids that are seen in that area. It's still to this day, there are cryptids being observed. It seems to have grown quite a lot, not so much in terms of population, but in terms of its physical appearance. There are now so many new buildings, large and small, many modern local community facilities, a brand new middle school, brand new high school, new student athletic complex, brand new police and maintenance center, modern emergency medical service facility on the south side, a brand new student residential complex, and of course, a newly refurbished Best Western hotel, all in a small community with less than 3,500 people living there. Yes, it has been many years, so it would seem natural for some growth to take place. However, the question I begin to think is, where did all the funds for all these sudden developments come from? Especially for such a small town. Even recent sightings of what may be described as Bigfoot or other dog-like creatures along the Navajo River is also a fairly new topic of conversation in Dolce. This is very interesting right here. I was fortunate this time to personally get to know a friendly family who lives in the northwest part of town. I had gotten to know the husband while I was attending a UFO seminar in Aztec the weekend before. During my 3 days stay at Dolce, I had obtained many new fascinating sighting reports from many local, again, particularly from the family I just mentioned. My second day in Dolce, the family invited me to their residence for a great meal. So as they're having this meal, my friend's wife told me of a fairly recent incident whereby a huge silent delta-shaped dark object emitting extremely bright lights slowly passed over a group of 50 to 75, all her relatives, on the mesa, where they were celebrating a traditional Apache feast called the Coming Out Feast. It's a celebration for young boys and girls who enter puberty. The huge object appeared after sundown, an hour or so after their traditional meals had ended, and after the shamans had completed their chanting and dancing. They were simply stunned to see this huge triangular craft hover only 100 feet above. The entire area lit up like it was day. What was more amazing was that after a few moments of hovering over the area, it suddenly took off like a tremendous gust of wind. Pots and pans were flying all over, people almost thrown off of their vehicles. Fortunately, no one was injured. Panic spread, generators failed to restart, and all battery-operated appliances malfunctioned, including cars and their radios. Here, this is crazy right here. And you can't tell me that this has... All of this is connected to... It's all Nephilim, portals, Dogmen, Bigfoot, the secret government, the alien agenda. It's all connected. But this is just terrifying right here. Lastly, while in Dolce, the son of the former head of the Dolce Police Department took me to the site of Project Gas Buggy. Project Gas Buggy was a rather strange 1967 governmental project which involved a large underground nuclear explosion, 29 kilotons of TNT deep inside a high plateau area of 25 miles south of Dolce, allegedly to release natural gas from the deep underground. It was this joint project with El Paso Natural Gas Company. What is not frequently mentioned in the association with this curious project was that the huge nuclear explosion had created deep, huge underground expansive caverns all over the area, along with extensive natural tunnels. What this has to do with the ongoing sightings of not only UFOs, but also alleged sightings of strange entities, including recent sightings of creatures like Bigfoot, Dogman, and other in the Navajo River, is up to us. We may not necessarily be talking about purely physical phenomenon, but somehow intertwined in an interdimensional occurrence. But of course, we cannot rule out the answers. One theory is the town of Dolce is benefiting financially by alleged covering up of dumping of nuclear waste from Los Alamos to elsewhere into underground cavities. So now they're saying there's nuclear waste there. But this town is growing. It's growing. But we're dumping nuclear waste there. No, what's happening is this cavern that was created in 1967 is growing with scientists and other entities creating projects, deep underground military labs, genetic experimentation like Nightmare Hall. Like Nightmare Hall is not the only area or only level in Dolce that were creating creatures. You know, you don't create chimera. We don't play God. Humans don't play God. Because when we do that, bad things happen. But if we are corrupted by demons, the alien race, the Draconians, the Greys, we may be tricked into creating life or chimera, like human octopus creatures that were seen underground in vats. Strange flying men, Mothman-like creatures, Dogmen-like creatures. One of the greatest or scariest, if you ask me, mentions of a creature in Dolce is the one where he says a 7 to 8 foot hairy bipedal creature with large talon-like claws, able to mimic a baby. What does that sound like? Doesn't sound like a Bigfoot. Claws, talons? kind of sounds similar to a Dogman, but something else. I mean, there are some other crazy creatures out there that we are just unaware of. Anyway, I wanted to share some of this information with you, and I kind of wanted to have a different upload for today because, like I said, I'm just trying to get used to the new talking and the new speech, but I wanted to share info with you that was important. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps this channel growing and going. And honestly, what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we all deserve, and that is because of all of you. So thank you. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant. Keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you.